A very good morning, folks, and welcome to our broadcast. For your information, it is Friday, the 18th day of August, and it's a very, very special day at our end. We trust that you guys are doing well. I will tell you just a little bit why it's a special day at our end. Good to see each and every one of you who are joining us on this live. Folks, we're in South Carolina, beautiful city, Sparkle City, also known as Sparkle City. And good to have all of you on the line this morning. Isabella Butchers, we see you here. And Debbie Collins, we see you as well. I see Finel Innes and Yolanda Thomas here as well, folks. And I'll tell you why. It's a big day at our end. It's my wife's birthday today. Yeah, it's my wife's birthday. The power behind the throne, folks. I've been instructed to say that. the power, she's the power behind the throne. Yeah. Yeah, I've been instructed that those are my lines. Those are my cues. So I want to say happy birthday. I want to say happy birthday to my wife who is celebrating a birthday today. And the entire family wishes her well. I've been instructed to say that as well. Folks, good to have all of you on the live. So you know I'm going to be pretty busy today because if I don't busy myself, I'm going to live to regret it. So I want to say happy birthday to my darling wife, the power behind the throne, and who, keeps me out front here, who's holding down things at the back end, so I can be out front here with y'all. So a very good morning to you folks. And we are good. I'm going to be celebrating. I have to, folks. and thank you so much for all of the well wishes that you guys are giving there. Do let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear, folks, because we want nothing less. Thanks, Diane, and I see Andrew and Wernell and everybody else sending the birthday wishes. We love her, and we wish her all the very best today. And we really hope that it starts a very, very definitive year in her life. We wish her all the very, very best on behalf of the entire family. Hugs and kisses. That being said, folks, before the show go in a totally different direction this morning, folks says happy birthday, Mrs. Duncan. Have a blessed day. Oh, y'all are too kind. Y'all are too kind. So she keeps me looking sharp and on my toes, and I'm grateful for that, and the entire family as well. That being said, folks, let's circle back. Let's circle back. We got some things to share with you folks. Thanks for all the kind words you guys are saying. James and Heaven Faith, Debbie Hohen Kirk, Donna, and all the other folks joining us. Chrissy Barker, good to have you there as well. Good morning to each and every one of you from the many places that you guys are joining us from. Share the live for us. Do us that big favor. Smash that emoji button, folks, and partner with us as well. We're going to hold for just a second while some of you dot your I's and you cross your T's. We are so happy to have all of you here with us. As we said, it's a very functional kitchen. People are moving about. Breakfast is being made and all the other stuff. So don't mind the little background noises you may or may not hear. Don't let it distract you from what's happening at this end. Great to see you folks. We're shuffling here in the morning papers as we get set to switch gears a little bit. And again, good to have all of you here from the many places you're joining us from. Lots of you, of course, joining us from the diaspora. A huge percent of our audience comes out of the diaspora, and we want to thank you guys for that. We're humble. Last evening, we hope that you guys had a good time the way we did. We enjoyed last evening program. We get to host the program and also sometimes learn from it, and especially learn from you guys. And there's a lot happening. The minute you slip, you miss something interesting. The minute you slip, Deborah Thomas, Erwin Don Cook, Kevin Pierce, the minute you slip, you miss something interesting. And last evening, we hope that we did a fairly decent job of, collating all of the things happening at the various ends. So good to have all of you on the live. I want to thank Yolanda Thomas for a generous contribution. Thank you, Yolanda. And that's gonna set us going. Thank you, Yolanda. And again, for those of you who are now joining, we started this morning by wishing my wife. I'm so grateful to her. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So grateful. We're wishing her all the very, very best. And guys, thanks to you as well for all of those kind comments I see there, Marjorie and all the other folks. Thank you so much for the very, very, very special comments that you guys have extended to us as a family and to my wife in particular. That being said, good folks, we got quite a few things we need to cover on the morning papers, and so we're eager to move in that direction. Very, very eager to move in direction. Share the live, folks. Smash that emoji button. As I said to you, folks, we got lots of stuff that's happening all the time around our parts, and we want to bring some of that to you, folks. Let's start with what's happening internationally. Belarus, the president there, Lukashenko, friend of Putin, he said if y'all try anything with him, he ready with the nuclear, with his nuclear weapons. In the event of any aggression, Lukashenko there in Belarus, who is under Russian control, basically he's a puppet president like the one we have, he's under Russian control. He said he's ready with the nuclear weapons. Should y'all want to try anything, that's one of the things we found this morning. It's a dangerous time we're living in. Like I said, the madmen with big guns. A very, very dangerous time we're living in. So we're watching things on that front, folks. That's what's going on there on the Russian front. And then, folks, more centrally, there's a report out that says Giuliani went to Trump Mar-a-Lago begging for funds. Listen, my God, saying something. He went begging for funds, he said, because his legal troubles are taking a toll on his finances. What's that saying when you're something, you get bitten by the fleas? Self-inflicted. That's what the Americans say. Self-inflicted. He wanted nice time. Self-inflicted. Yeah, a report out this morning saying that he went to Giuliani. He went to Mar-a-Lago, hat in hand, saying he wanted a small piece. Things tight. It's not only by your side. It's all around, Giuliani. It's all around. So that's one of the things. That's one of the things we're following this morning, good folks. It's just one of the things we're following. Good to have all of you on the live. Good to see you, Deborah Clark. I see Cheryl Jeffrey. Naomi. Right? Good to see you, Naomi. Naomi comment always cracks us up. Because you have fast people, and then you got Naomi. You got fast people. Here was the question, right? Who is Liz? The viewers wants to. Hold a focus. Let me hold a focus, man. Let me hold a focus on the show, man. Charlene and Bernadette, right? Liz is the executive producer. It's the executive producer, right? There you have it. The executive producer, right? Charlene and P. Cock, they got fast people, and then you got Naomi. She's a special category. Oren, Margaret Nelson from up the road. Margaret from up the road. Good to see you, Margaret. Kamal Prasad on the live as well. Here what Kamal says. Kamal's another cantankerous one, Liz. Here she's saying, right? Foreign green with you. I love it. I love it. I love it. Foreign green with you. Good to see all of you folks on the live. We like Giuliani, at least not all of us. Right? We ain't going with hat in hand. We can make news. Guyana we from. Born and bred is Guyana we from. It's good to be here out in the diaspora. Good to be here in the United States of America. We visit that. I want you all know that. Our visit that. We ain't got no trouble with Americans. You see? Liz told me years ago. She said when you come to the people country, don't make them uncomfortable. I was going to Antigua many years ago. So when you go by the people, don't make them uncomfortable. And I've carried that with me. Don't make them uncomfortable. So we're following folks on the front. What's happening with Giuliani? Folks asking if I meet Burke. Hold on, man, Charlene. Hold on. I'm coming around to Burke. I'm happy that you mentioned that. I'm coming around to Burke. We're coming around there. Closer to where we are, folks. In TNT, the analysts are saying that the low voter turnout, this could get bearing on us. That's why we plucked this one out. The low voter turnout was due to lack of inspiration and apathy. Right? Lack of inspiration and apathy in both sides, he said. This particular analyst there in Trinidad. That's stuck out. Lack of inspiration. When I listened to Jack View yesterday in a press conference, right? I can understand why people are not inspired. I understand why there were some movements in their own strongholds by the opposition. Lack of inspiration. Lack of inspiration. That's what the folks says. Lack of inspiration. Yeah. Lack of inspiration. But I can tell you. Last night we told you about Mr. Jagdeo wading into that issue, that off the cuff remark from Mr. Rowley, Prime Minister Rowley, about the Guyana dollar. We wanted to give you some context this morning by giving you the actual clip of Dr. Rowley and the response by Mr. Jagdeo. We see it's picking up some traction on social media. Watch out now, the Trinidadians coming. The Trinis coming, folks. Take a look and take a listen. The Trinis coming. It's the comment by Prime Minister Keith Rowley of Trinidad and Tobago, and Vice President Mr. Jagdeo installed there in the 592. Take a look, folks. Take a listen.
In a corporation like Diego Martin, the NTA would have amassed some over 30,000 votes.
Really? 30,000 votes? Where you got that from? Where you got that from?
That was our information.
The NTA got 30,000 votes?
Votes in Diego Martin.
Chinese dollars.
I hate this thing when people try to run down our country. Two, I don't want to get into any controversy with Mr. Rowley, because one time I said about we determined to ensure that we don't utilize oil and gas resources the same way that they did, and it got into a big heated controversy in right, thank you. So it got into a controversy there. But every time, sometimes they always use Guyana as an example. And so I saw that, it was sent to me, and it was speaking about local government elections, and then Mr. Rowley said something about, oh, that's like the Guyana dollars, and laugh. Like meaning basically our currency is weak. Japan was the third largest economy in the world. The yen to dollar is over 100 to 1. Doesn't mean Japan's economy is weak. They are over 100 to 1 US dollar. So let them live in this fantasy. And the fact remains is that today, a lot of Trinidadian companies now, because of intense foreign currency shortage in Trinidad, and they have exchange controls, which we don't have, because we have an open market. They have a managed market because of shortages. For months and months, people can't get foreign currency in that country. So we notice a trend here is that people, Trinidadian companies, or some Trinidadian companies, are procuring large quantity of goods for their business in Guyana and in Trinidad, and paying from here, making payments from here to their suppliers. So they're utilizing our foreign currency to make those payments. So I hope Mr. Rowley looks at that too.
I hope Mr. Rowley looks at that too. That is what Mr. Jagdeo said. Don't worry. Don't bother with he. Interesting times, folks. Interesting times. Fantasy. I let them live in fantasy. Trinidad has been pumping on for 100 years. I want you to know that. Not 5, not 3, not 2, 100 years. And when you stand up in Port of Spain, you understand what they did with the money. When you see how Trinidadians live, what they earn, the kind of industries that they have, Right? You understand? Yes, there's a pumping oil a long time here, boy. Right? And lots of Guyanese have benefited from living in Trinidad. You know, benefit from the economy. Vice versa. Vice versa. You know, both sides have benefited. So don't everything. Right? But we can get a response from the Trinidadians. You know what you see? It's curry roti. It's routine curry. Huh? What is it? What is it? Y'all know how we stay. We love each other as CARICOM brothers and sisters. But we come here in some contention as well. Right? Yes. As Liz says, we have a love-hate relationship. And as from Jack Leo, as we start, you might as well continue. Let's say, as someone asked about Burke, you know, some cantankerous one asked about Burke and whether we see Burke yet and all that. Hold on, man. You get so much of Burke and get tired. You know, Bob Murray said, you're going to tired with him face. You get so much of Burke, right? You're gonna sorry your acts. Well, Burke featured in the press conference yesterday too. Folks, Burke in the head, right? Rent free. Rent free. You know, Jack was going good this press conference yesterday. And then he just run off. Plunge into Burke. Burke planning a conference. Burke and team. Some other organization. You know, Burke heads up the Caribbean Guyana Institute of Democracy there in New York. Planning a conference. Mind your own business. Burke is not living in Guyana. Burke take the American citizenship. Living nice in the US. Right? But they don't like that. And Burke, no. You want to plunge into Burke. Right? He's talking about people Patterson rubbing you the wrong way. Patterson, please rub Jack you the right way. I'm begging you. It can save us a lot of trouble in this country. Right? You, please. Right? Mr. Patterson, you rub Jack you the right way. We could solve a lot of problems. So as I said, he rather plunge into Burke in this press conference yesterday. It's the darndest thing, folks. It's the darndest thing. Take a look and take a listen. This conference that's coming up in Washington, you're bothering them. And did I hear some threats? Take a look, be a judge for yourself. Take a look, take a listen, guys.
I saw Rick Ford Burke. It's the same kind of trend. Now, his organization hosting an activity in Washington to talk about discrimination in Guyana. Now, the first thing they should do is to catch him and lock him up, because he is used, that organization that he has should be registered under FARA. He's lobbying in the US, and it's illegal to lobby the way he is doing it unless you're registered as a foreign agent. So that's what they should do, and maybe someone needs to complain to the Justice Department and other places that he is doing that. He's collecting money for that purpose, and I think he is ripping people off. He creates this organization. He has to generate activities and to have profile, and then he raises money to do this. So that's what he's been doing. And then we know that he's a criminal. He tried to extort businessmen for money here. So anybody who associates with him, they're associating with a criminal type, a criminal in Washington. And we will make this point, you know, and I don't care which congressman or anybody else who wants to be part of a criminal network, because that is what he has. I don't care about that. Because at the end of the day, the people of this country matter, and particularly those who live here. They matter. So we will robustly take that on, and we'll point out all of this. In fact, he'll get some robust engagements there, and we'll embarrass those who will be part of these activities, because We point out there are links to a criminal who is living off of the U.S. and probably living illegally off of the proceeds in that country.
Folks, you can tell Mr. Jaglio, apparently Bork rubbed it the wrong way. All these men rubbing Jaglio the wrong way. You're rubbing the right way, I'm begging y'all. Please, please, we can solve a lot of problems. You can tell he spent a lot of time thinking about Bork. He wants managed Bork organization now. He know about the title, the tax filing, you know, how they should file this tax, how they should raise the profile, you know, and he's going to engage. I heard that. Engage Bork robustly. I don't know if that's a threat or that's something. He's going to engage him robustly. Y'all talk about the man. He is going to engage him robustly. Folks, I fear if we go into government, we can be a very boring administration. These guys are content creators' dream come true. You know, there's a gift that keeps on giving. 2 hours of this, you know. They say, if you can dazzle them with brilliance, just baffle with the other things. baffle with the best. You all heard that? I'll engage them robustly. Right? I want to engage the economy with country robustly. I want to engage crime and the criminal elements. And he's rich when he starts talking about who lie me with criminal elements. Because he remembers Sue, who gets all the agreements, you know, who gets all the support, and he handling things from the government side. Thanks, Isabel Young and Vice News. Yep, we know that. So when he talking about criminal elements and people who lie in and, you know, he'll shame people and all. One of his voices, I can imagine Joe Biden, you know, but if you gain a little sanity listening to him, it's madness. Just when you think you can't top Biden. Enter Jaglio. The man going good, he press conference. He just run and jump into Bork arms, just like that. And then he said, people rub you the wrong way. You know, people pick trouble, you know, and then it's cry foul. You're going to complain to the State Department. Nobody doing nothing. The people in a different country holding the conference, he vexed. He thinks he's president in the United States. You got to watch this fellow. Lennox Anderson, you got to watch this fellow. We did start in Trinidad, and look where y'all end up. Because, you know, once we start talking about Jaglio's problems, you know, we started in Trinidad, folks, and look where we have ended up. Let us try to correct course and go back to where we started. So we're talking about what's happening in Trinidad, and this analyst saying low voter turnout, there's lack of inspiration. When you hear this fellow Jaglio we got, you understand lack of inspiration. But we're moving on, folks, and we're going down. Look, take this other headline we're following. UNC, the United National Congress, is saying they're soon going to be naming their mayors and their chairmen in the boroughs, in the areas that they've won, and the corporations that they call in their system, the corporations that they've won. Kamala Persad, besides former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, leader of the UNC, they said they're going to be pursuing this front very shortly as they put the local government elections in Trinidad and Tobago behind them. You know, Raul living in a fantasy. I'm sure Jaglio would say, Kamala got the vision. Kamala got the vision. We're following this, folks. When we came up here last night, we learned that a 19-year-old had taken her own life. And she was involved, apparently, in a relationship with a 36-year-old gentleman who, on the said day in which she took her life, allegedly broke up the relationship with her. Right? And it's a whole rigmarole story from there. Our thoughts and prayers go out to her family. You know, beautiful young woman, 18 years old, 19 years old. Right? And something happened there in that apartment on the East Coast. Something happened. He said he went to the apartment, he broke up with her. He went home, she texted him. They were texting back and forth. She threatened to take her life. And after he didn't hear from her, he went to the police to go by the apartment. Right. And then I saw Melissa Atwell, Melly Mel, pointed out that a certain WhatsApp story was posted by her after the time the police said they found her. You know, only the 592. So we're watching that, folks. Right? We're watching that, and we want to say our thoughts and prayers are extended to her family. 18 years old, beautiful young woman, dead. Dead. That being said, folks, moving on to other things that we're following at our end. Remember, we've been talking about what's happening there in the Ghana Police Force. The Police Complaint Authority, the chairman in a recent report, cites the lack of staff and inadequate office space hindering the work of the Police Complaint Authority. You know who else hindering this work? Dickens. Dickens hindering this work as well, because the chairman pointed out that reports that are supposed to be coming to him, investigations that are supposed to be coming to the complaint authority, is not finding their way there. And then Hickens and others circumventing the authority and behaving in a very unprofessional manner. I'm telling you what the chairman said. We're adding to this, we're subtracting from it. This is what the chairman said. Quite recently, a former senior superintendent of police, former assistant commissioner of police, as a matter of fact, Paul Slow, he was the guest on Politics 101 with Dr. David Hines. And folks, this very issue was raised, this very issue of the Police Complaint Authority and them trying to circumvent. And I think Paul Slow, having the institutional memory and the experience as a senior policeman, elucidates this whole notion of the Police Complaints Authority and what them boys are seeking to do. And so for your listening pleasure, folks, for listening pleasure, we offer that to you this morning. Take a look and take a listen to what the senior policeman, former assistant commissioner of police, Paul Slow, said on this program with Dr. David Hines. Take a look, good folks, and take a listen.
A couple of days ago, the headline in the Stabrook News read as follows: Police complaints head accuses top cop of violating act. Top cop of violating act. And the story, of course, goes on to, in great detail, to point out the way in which investigations of accusations against police officers have been dealt with. Do me a favor. First of all, explain to us what is the Police Complaints Authority? What is its function? What is the role of the chairman? What, according to the law, the Police Complaints Authority handles, and what and in what circumstances these cases and these investigations are handled by the Police Complaints Authority?
Right. The Police Complaints Authority Act, Chapter 1702 of the Laws of Guyana, sets out clearly, it creates the authority, and it's an authority that is tasked with the responsibility of investigating certain allegations made against police ranks. And let me say this: there is no chairman of the Police Complaints Authority. People, and that is a mistake that has been made from time and time. There is a Police Complaints Authority. Retired Justice William Ramlal is the Police Complaints Authority. He's not chairman of that body. There's no provision in law for a chairman. He is the authority. So that's the first thing. And the law sets out, he made reference to certain sections. And the law sets out, and I'm going to go through it, the Police Complaints Authority Act. Section 12 of that act says quite clearly that if any complaint or information that any member of the force has unlawfully caused the death of any person or has committed other offenses, those offenses are under Section 48 of the Criminal Law Offences Act, which is doing bodily harm by wanton misconduct. Section 49 speaks to assault causing actual bodily harm. Section 50 speaks to unlawful wounding. Section 55 speaks to discharges loading firearm with intent. And Section 57 talks about felonious wounding. What the law is saying, that if any such complaint is made to the police, or the police get knowledge that any such complaint is made, then the commissioner is compelled by law to inform the complaints authority, who has a responsibility to supervise such an investigation. So once the police is involved in any killing, once the police shoots and kills anyone or kills anyone in any other way, once they involve any one of those other offenses that I spoke about, unlawful wounding, discharging loaded firearm, they have a statutory responsibility as the commissioner to report these matters to the complaints authority, and the complaint authority must supervise whatever investigation is to be done so that he is satisfied that the investigation is properly done. What he's accusing the commissioner of police acting of is going ahead and where even with shootings, they conduct the investigation and then they send the file to the complaints authority, because the complaints authority too has a function. Once the investigation is finished, he looks into the report, and before the file goes to the director of public prosecution, he has to make comments as to whether he thinks that the matter was properly investigated. He makes recommendation whether he thinks charges should be filed, and the DPP, according to the law, must take those recommendations into consideration. So what they have been doing, according to the complaints authority, is they're doing their own thing, then they send the report to the complaints authority to be rubber stamped. And Mr. Ramlal made it clear, I am not rubber stamping these things. The law requires me to supervise and be satisfied that the investigation was properly done, and that is not being done. So the gist of the matter, that is what it is. That is what it is in summary. That is what it is. They're doing their own thing, even though the law stipulates that these things must be supervised by the complaints authority. That is not being done. The commissioner is not informing the complaints authority of these offenses as created, as stated by the relevant law, 1702 of the Act. They're just doing their own investigation, and we know what happened. Many times you would have seen in the media and elsewhere, something happened and they tell, oh, we're going to send it to the Office of Professional Responsibility, OPR, and then they conduct what they believe is an investigation. In many cases, the allegation is that those investigations are not properly done because it's police investigating, so people say that they're covering. And then it goes to the DPP. Sorry, it goes to the complaints authority depending on the nature of the offense. And Mr. Lamlal has made it clear that is not that what the law say. I am not rubber stamping anything. I have a statutory responsibility to supervise these investigations. And in supervising the investigation, the law makes it clear that if he's not satisfied with the individual who is investigating, he can tell them, look, change this investigator. If he's not satisfied that statements were properly taken, he can say, look, let's take over the statements or get additional statements or further statements, as we would say in the police force, to make sure that the investigation is done properly. And that is what they are trying to circumvent.
You heard it there, folks. That is what they are trying to circumvent. I thought that Mr. Slow, former Assistant Commissioner of Police, dealt with that so succinctly. And so we had to share that with you. And as Dr. David Hines had his attention, he asked him about this extension of the police commissioner acting Clifton Hickens' appointment. About this extension. You know, he's reached the age of retirement and should go out to pasture. He should go to pasture. And a lot of senior ranks are very upset that their own elevation is being held back because of one man's greed. You see, one man's lust for power. Their own elevation in the police force is being held back. As Dr. Hines had the attention of the former Assistant Commissioner of Police, also, he asked them about this. He asked them, folks. Here's what he said on that note. Take a look. Take a listen.
Mr. Snow, I mentioned that Laurie Lewis was the first time I can remember that a commissioner of police had reached the age of retirement and asked to stay on in the post-colonial era. Was that the first time, or that was it happened before?
No, it was not the first time. The first person to be extended beyond 55. And let me make it clear that we're talking about people who are substantive commissioners of police was Balaram Raghabir. Mr. Oy
Not
did
big.
extend Balaram Raghabir when he reached 55. And remember, as I'm saying, the emphasis there that all the persons who were so extended were substantive commissioners and were extended before they reached the age of retirement. Those are critical points for our viewers to understand.
Because the present commissioner was acting.
Well, he was acting, and even that is controversial. That's still before the court because remember, when he was appointed to act, I think it was last year, March, it was challenged because the opposition leader claimed that there was no consultation as required by the Constitution. However, the Chief Justice ruled in that case that because there was no opposition leader at the time, then it was necessary for the appointment to be made. That is challenged. I think that challenge is still pending before the court.
Yeah, again, I love the way a former senior superintendent of police, senior assistant superintendent, assistant commissioner of police, Paul Slow, puts it so succinctly. Understanding this, you haven't served at that level for such a long time, putting it there, making the arguments. And folks, again, nothing irregular. You know, Higgins should do the honorable thing. Go to pasture. Let some other professional people come in and lift this thing up. We were going somewhere under the last administration. You know that. Don't let me stifle our consciences. You know that crimes were being solved. The whole professional bar of the Ghana Police Force was being raised. And now look at us. Look at us. Such a shame. But that being said, folks, that being said, I want to show you some of the other things we're covering this morning, folks. Moving on. The opposition must stop being misleading to sugar workers. Read one of the headlines in this morning's papers. You know, the opposition, really? It's been promised to back the sugar estates. We must stop misleading. I think they got this one back to front. I think they got this one little back. It's really promised that. 3 years later, we look back one sugar estate. It's me. You got me doubting myself now. You got me doubting myself. It's me. This was a headline, folks, in the papers this morning. Opposition must stop misleading sugar workers. What did we do now? What did we do now? That was one of the headlines. Good folks. Dengue running rampage. Them boys in K. It's a traveling government. Them boys in every foreign capital in the world. Dengue, but themselves. Yeah, they don't believe in dengue. You know, like good governance, transparency, and accountability. They don't believe in dengue, good folks. Smash that emoji button, folks, for us. Share the live wherever you're joining us from this morning. That's one of the things we're following. You know, we're hearing that former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair and his wife are going to be in Georgetown in very short order, and they're going to be doing some work with a particular NGO. We welcome them. We welcome the Blairs. Finally, Tony coming. We're not able to come, Tony. We're not able to come. Take a look and see what them boys doing today. Take a look. Again, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. This might be the first Prime Minister, a former otherwise from Britain to visit Ghana. Former or otherwise, the Blairs again are going to be doing some work with an NGO in Georgetown. And that's one of the things we're looking at this morning, folks. That's one of the things we're looking at. Among the other many issues we're following, one issue we're looking at. But the Ghana Manufacturing and Services Association, its president is going to meet with the vice president and actually sing. Yep. Concerning what, you may ask? Thank you for asking. Small business support. I thought everything nice. I thought everybody, doing what they're supposed to do, and it's a well-oiled machine. The fact that the GSMA president meeting with these two gentlemen will tell us nothing irregular. They want to give you an impression that all is well, all is nice, and all is good. But the reality speaks something totally different. We're going to watch this to see how it plays out. We're going to watch it, good folks, to see how it goes and where it goes. That big apologies there, good folks. That being said, I think the other issue we're going to be looking at this morning is the one we looked at last evening. Is all of these shifts that we've had. Shifts. You know, we're shifting back and forth, shifting back and forth, good people. The shifts. That's one of the things we're following this morning. And you know, there's a number of shuffles happening. A number of them shuffle up, shuffle down, shuffle to the side, shuffle in front. A number of shuffles happening. And of course, we told you guys the a number of the REOs have moved. You know, this hasn't been broadcasted. I wonder why. Again, it speaks a lot of incompetence and slothfulness. What is the word? Lackadaisical attitudes and so on. You know, bugging down the work that's supposed to be done. They bring a lot of people in who really and truly have no business being in some of the positions that they're in. So in terms of the REO front, the Region 5 man gone to 10, the Region 10 man gone to 5, the Region 6 man gone to Region 3, and then the Region 3 man, he is now advisor by the Ministry of Local Government. They're hoping they can spur and spawn some energy in these regions to get the work flowing. You know, yeah, they're not doing too well on that front. And in addition to that, folks, in addition to that, we learned also that a number of PSs shuffle around. The big shuffle, the great shuffle of August 17. The great shuffle of August 17. You know, those of you who've been ardent followers of our program, I've said countless times here, when we had to deal with May, to Thomas, I don't fancy name. When we've had to deal with May, I've said it right here. I said, here is this lovely young woman, pretty, lovely young woman, qualified in her own way. I think she has a diploma in accountancy. He came in there to upset a woman who had a master's degree in management. People care about that. Right? A career public servant you had in Daniela, what's her name? They're the Ministry of Public Security, Ministry of Home Affairs now. Career public servant. You see? Master's degree in management. People care about that. They came and upset Daniela. Daniela must go. And then we saw a lot of things happening. There are a lot of accusations with how contracts were being handled. Lots of allegations. You know, a lot of unsavory things were said about the conduct of the ministry, for instance, in its robust engagement with the Ghana Prison Service, the Ghana Fire Service. Right? And then the other thing that was striking is this Mohammed's connection. Right? You could have your friends, but where they seem you have a conflict of interest, you got to draw the line. You're gone hunting with them, you bite them, you're doing this, you're doing that, and then you are the one who got to be managing contracts to them too. People must have their friends. We don't fault anybody, and we're not going to tell who you must have as friends. You're big. But one scandal after the next, we said here, May has to determine whether May wants to be a public servant or she wants to be a street girl. And a lot of you fought us for that. A lot of you fought us for that. Then come a time in your life, you got to make that decision too. Right? Some of you got the Constitution, you can go out and party whole night. Right? Come home at 7, dress for work at 7:30 and gone again. You can't do that with kids. You see? You can't do it with a husband or a wife, unless both of y'all and you dance stuff. And children. You gotta come a point in life, but you determine, you know what? To advance, I gotta give up to go up. Isn't that what leadership expert John Maxwell says? You give up to go up. Right? You can't want to be a sweet girl and be a professional in the public service all at the same time. And I've said it here. I like May. Anybody who up and up, right? You're moving, you want to move. I come back here and support you. Everything is not politics in this country. And that is why he said here, a determination got to be made. You want to be a PS or you want to be a sit girl? And so the great shuffle happened yesterday. And make a lash. None of me tell you otherwise. Make a lash. And we will talk about the visa story and the phone story. When should they go into China? If and drop a lash on me. Right? You come in with a diploma and I put in the story, you got a doctorate and a master's degree and a doctorate. You gotta humble yourself. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. I hear my pastor in my head often. One of the things he said to us over the years, buy the future cheap. Buy the future it's cheap. You should be aiming to do such work diligently and professionally. Because in the politics, May is not no technocrat. She's in the politics of the party, and so they put her there as a gatekeeper for the minister at the house at Home Affairs. Don't let us fool ourselves. They put her there as a gatekeeper. And she messed up. Right? You should be doing such diligent work on behalf of the Guyanese people. Politics aside, you're in now, you got to work for the Guyanese people. Such diligent work that the next consideration for you is ministerial work. But you come in and we hear, big cuss out with me. Those have been some allegations, big cuss out with me and Robson. I can imagine a Robson by the time. By the time. Eh? Big views out with them. You got to come in, you got to put your head down, and you got to do the work. You got to come in, put your head down, and do the work. There is no shortcut for it. But you come in and you behave like Miss Congeniality. Everything come knock. You there. Come on now. Come on now. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Nobody did it to you. By your own actions. By your own actions. You have brought that on yourself. And so yesterday was the day of the great shuffle, folks. And may the pitchy now by Pelori Joe. You can tell me there's a lateral transfer. Am I getting it right? Is that lateral? Jesus. You can tell me that is a transfer that on an equal level like that. No, it's down you go in. When they put you by Pelori Joe, you know you're there. The sour may now, she's going to make the sour for the Pelori. Sour May and Pelori Joe. Right? Sour May and Pelori Joe. You got to humble yourself. You got to humble yourself. And I spoke to you like a big brother. But you don't want to listen. You know when people like Colin, I give them some advice. Man beat him on chest here. Right? As a young man, I saw coming up, who is now, I saw a video accusing me of some of the most heinous things. Heinous things. Folks, I'm one person. Right? The person in front of the camera is the person you can see behind the camera. I'm in the time for fooling people. I don't have time for necessary drama. Right? I didn't marry a beautiful, sexy woman for cheating her with men. I didn't. That is madness. Don't run the place fooling people like that. I have a beautiful wife. Right? Inside and out. 3 lovely sons. And I'm contented with that. Me need no more drama on the front. None whatsoever. And I listen to this young man say some of the most heinous things about me that he knows. is not true. Right? I heard him a couple of months ago saying some things about different people in the country. I understand his energy, his exuberance, because I was once there. And I called him and I said, Chief, slow down. I am able to do what I do because I went to UG, sit down, and did a degree in law. And y'all hear me talking here every day, and the back of my mind always is slander and libel. I did a course with Leslie Sobers called Media Ethics. Right? In communication, when I did my undergraduate diploma in communications, right? Media ethics and something was the name of the course. Former magistrate Leslie Sobers was our lecturer in that course. And then I did law afterwards. At the back of my mind, always turning around, is slander and libel. And I understand the politics that these jagabats and trench crappos only want a little ounce of thing on you, you know. They only want a little ounce information on you. Forgot you in the front pages. And so I live my personal life as though anything I do is being recorded. Anything I say, any message I send, that is my own measure. Nobody will impose on me. If I want to be a public servant and I want to be a politician, then I hold myself by that standard. That any message I send, right, I must be able to see it in Starbuck News, in the Chronicle, in Kaitra News, and don't feel no big way about it. So when I hear this jerk talking this stuff about me, I called this fella and I told him, you need to calm down, right? In all that exuberance, in all that energy, you got slander and libel. And some of the things you play with here going to put you in trouble. Next thing you know, I see the commissioner of police got him man in court. Brutus got him man in court. I say, see what I tell you? Now they have procured him to come after me. I said, the same way I've said here publicly, I said, May, calm down. Back up yourself. Mr. Bonabroom's voice. Back up yourself, May. Now the putchi. Avec sour. To go with Padori Joe. Right? I'm so sorry about that. Bishram Kupin in this whole lot here. I told y'all. I work with the fella at City Hall. I mean, I tell you, I see qualities in this gentleman that's admirable. I want to lie to y'all. Now because it's PPP, give Jackie jacket. As a man to say, we look on the other side, we try to give them, but we come up one thing so many times. Right? Then I can understand why they're bringing Bishram and elevating him, and why May being demoted. How much scandal you hear Bishram in since this whole thing started? Then don't blame nobody, blame yourself. Blame yourself. So they put May now by Polari Joe, Ministry of Labor. And Bishram Kupin, who was at Ministry of Labor, they put at Ministry of Housing. Now that's a promotion. All them appearances, but the weight of the ministry, the count of the ministry, the count of the portfolio, they now have to manage. Right? When Ministry with Labor had $1 billion, or even if it's so much as a budget, Ministry of Housing managing billions of dollars, that's a promotion. And I was saying, well deserved for Bishram. Right? Bishram gone at housing now. Andre in Shan Ali, who was at housing, Mr. Too Big for Your Boots, he got now at Home Affairs. Right? So apparently, when they want to get ready, they send you Home Affairs. And then you got Parima Anastasia Rupnarain. She now at Human Services and Social Security with the girl Vindhya. Right? Well, Vindhya needs some help. So I hope Prima strong. I hope you're strong, girl. Because Vindhya needs a lot of backup. A lot of backup. You see? And then you got Chanel Hussein Autar, the supermodel of the bunch. She now at education can try to prop up Priya. Right? Priya, Priya always strikes me. Priya this thing along, but like Priya growing, Priya's an old head now. She's not no rising star no more. But like Priya coming into this thing full. Miss Hippocyte, She ain't really coming. You know, some people's growing to a role. She just growing, but she ain't going into the role. Right? A minister of education should have a certain kind of finesse. You know, a certain kind of what is the term? Is it savoir-faire? A certain kind of, you know what I'm talking about? It's like when you spray that perfume in the air, how does it? And then you walk into yourself, you know. There is a certain kind of Priyan growing into this role. You know, when you got a plane on the runway, especially a big plane, you only get a certain kind of real estate, you know. And at a certain time, the plane got to take off, or else. Like fly Jamaican Caribbean Airlines, when it hit the end of the runway, it's trouble. You see? Priya running out to real estate right now to take off, to become. So I hope that Outar, right? Chanel Hussein Outar, I hope she got the testicular fortitude because she can need that to deal with Priya, right? So that is the great shuffle of yesterday. The great shuffle. Well, Alfred got staying power. That's his superpower. Alfred King, he got staying power. Politically, listen to me carefully now. Alfred got to know where some of the bodies buried. Politically. Yeah. He got to know, with that kind of staying power that Alfred got, he got to know where the bodies are buried. Right? And with the kind of staying power that he got, he probably buried some bodies himself. Politically. Because he got some staying power. Administrations come and go. Alfred there. Right? He like the Timex. You know that old slogan of the Timex watch? Takes a licking, keeps on ticking. All right? If two come in, two gone. I didn't hear anything about Derek Cummings at the who used to be at the office of the Prime Minister. I know one of these going there. Who is heading over there is, I think it's one of the females. PS's heading over there, office of the Prime Minister. Let me see if I catch that very quickly for you. Yeah. No, Alfred King is going there. Alfred King. So I guess what's his name is out. Derek Cummings, PS Derek Cummings, he's out. Right? Sharon Rupchan Edwards look like she got staying power too. She hasn't been moved from Onage. Right? You need somebody strong like Sharon. You need somebody strong like Sharon Rupchan Edwards. Right? To tether Onage. We all know Onage is a little snake. Right? But apparently Sharon got the anecdote for the poison. Sharon got the anecdote. Sharon was my lecturer at UG. In the interest of full transparency, Sharon was my lecturer at UG. Folks, wonderful woman. I've never been so attentive in a class like that economics. Was it 110, 125? I can't remember the courses exactly, this years ago. I was never so attentive in the class. She's a good woman. Fine woman. Yeah. The great shuffle, folks. The great shuffle. But again, this is indicative that nothing irregular capsized, folks. Nothing irregular. And that is why you're seeing all this movement. Right? They must know that things are moving forward. The ministries are very, very important institutions in our country in providing key services to our people. And so you can get all kind of jamkalar, and flunkies, political hacks, and neophytes there. You got to get seasoned people who know how to hit the ground running. And clearly, May needed a little more time coming across from Ministry of the Presidency. I think she was an accounts clerk or something there. We are kind of snakes in all kind of positions in this country, you know. Not only one in the tree in the gardens, all kinds of snakes we had. So they brought her over from the ministry of the presidency, and of course, you know, some people, let me tell you something. I have learned in my experience, some people, this one was telling me, you know, you can't defeat them on your own. You gotta let them up to their own devices and give them some time. So I hope you may use this time, you know, as a time of rehabilitation and introspection on the way forward. On the way, all is not lost. You got life, you got hope. Once there is light, there is hope. Use it as a time of reflection. You see, reflection on the way forward. Simmer down, quiet down, stay away from the headlines, right? And give yourself to public service. A lot of public service work is behind the scene work, is engine room work. But if you want to Mr. and Miss Congeniality, you end up in problems. You know, you better ask you better read Alfred King book and now see how he's serving 10, 15 years as a permanent secretary. Right? Yes, you know, Alfred King got a book, Stay in Power. Stay in Power, you better ask him for read. You better not go read. Folks, it's been a privilege being here with Speaking Truth to Power. It's been good being here with Corinne, Doric, and Colin Moore, Maria Vera. Folks, we love you. We love each and every one of you. We love our fans. You know, y'all make the programs what they are. It's Friday morning, 1,500 of you watching us on a Friday morning, you know. We couldn't even find 400 for Jagyo press conference yesterday. We couldn't even find 400, 1,500 of you watching us. And we're so humbled by that because we understand in this social media age, there's so much else happening on social media. It's such a privilege. Thank you for coming into our humble abode here in South Carolina. It's such a privilege being here with you folks. We can be back with you guys in the flesh shortly. But allow us this time to be away, you know, to refire, not to retire, right? And to go after some other pursuits as well. And we can be closer to you guys. And all the better for it. Edward Rooms, good to see you. Mr. Dento, how could we forget him? You know, how could we forget him? Wasn't he a PS? He moved from a PS to minister to nothing. Some of his own was telling me, how could we forget Sharon Hicks? She moved from a PS to nothing. Some of we own was saying, I know I'm telling y'all. Listen to y'all by the man. You go far. You go far. Folks, thanks for joining us this morning. Share the live. Smash that emoji button before you go. Folks, wherever you're joining us, smash it. Share the live too. Partner with us as well. You need a good Commissioner of Vote Staff David, a good Justice of the Peace. I want to recommend to you guys the Alistair Collins Forum. They're down there at the Callion Mall, Lamaha Street, between Camp and Waterloo Street. It's on the ground floor. It's closer to Waterloo Street. You go in on the ground floor, you can't miss it. Ask anybody. They do good service there. They're not political. I promote them because I use them as well and found them to be very, 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 very useful and professional in this man. And I think everybody should know about them. I think so. I want to say shout out too to the photographer. Right? I want to say big shout out to the photographer who took my wife's photograph. Right? Because here's a young man who is really trying and he's distinguishing himself from the pack. Right? So I want to say a big shout out to the photographer. And let me see if I get his name correctly because they won't forgive me if I get it wrong. Right? EM Photography. EM Photography. Check them out. Check them out. Folks, today is my wife's birthday. And again, we want to wish her all the very best. And I want to thank her for, you know, being the kind of person she is. You know, being the kind of person that she is. I really want to thank her for that. I want to triple up myself now. So you have to do butterflies, you know, these many years after. Right? A girl from Bobis could change your life. A girl from Bobis could change your life. I can see some of y'all jumping in the car now heading up the road. A girl from Bobis. Happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to her. And EM Photography. EM Photography. I think they're accessible on Facebook as well. EM Photography. Yeah. When I see this photograph, I want Mario for. Like I can renew the vows now. Like I can renew the vows now. EM photography. That being said, folks, that's our time and that's our program. Stay safe until our next broadcast. It's Friday. One more program for the week, good folks. Thanks for